Hey, what's up, YouTube? It is Melanie back with Melanie Loves Death Metal. Good morning. It is Wednesday morning early. I've got my coffee over here. As you can see, I've changed my desk around finally. I was not a big fan of my last setup. I didn't like how you could just. I was like in a corner. It was weird. So I finally hung up some posters and I finally have a background once again until I probably end up moving again. So, I mean, that's just going to happen. I think we're planning on doing another move sometime next year. I don't know. My life is just doesn't make any sense anyway. So, how about a nice standard collection update today? Something I feel like I haven't really done in a couple of weeks. I've been trying to just pump out other types of content on here, but I don't really feel like doing anything else other than a collection update today. So, I've got four vinyl. Four. That I've gotten the last couple of weeks, and one of them I actually talked about when it first came out, but I had it on CD back then. I've since started getting the vinyl collection going for this band, so I'll talk about that on here. But the first one that I have today is one that has getting a lot of praise on the underground death metal scene through social media. Admittedly, I knew this album was coming. I kind of forgot about it. Was a huge fan of their demo that came out last year on Headsplit Records. And then, I feel like it kind of went under the radar that their first full length was going to be released this year. But Metal Twitter and Bandcamp and Instagram and all the other social media did not let this go under the radar. And they've had a lot of high praise. And what I'm talking about is the new Dripping Decay full length Festering Grotesqueries. By far, some of the best album artwork that I've seen in a while. I mean, with the exception of, the Brad Moore work back there, Pit of Bones, who did Tomb Mold's newest album, and then their last, just naming off some album artwork that has come out lately. But this one, I absolutely love this album artwork, and the color just pops. But if you're not familiar with this band, they're out of Portland. This is their first full length, and like I said, they had a demo that came out last year on Headsplit. I think I talked about it on here. If I didn't, then it might have been around a time where I was just getting really bogged down with things that I was getting in my collection. But at last, this is out, and this is by far one of the best releases to come out this year, hands down. I'm going to take a drink of coffee because I'm trying really hard not to yawn. Oh, it's empty. That's the worst. Okay, so anyway, I'm tired. It's early in the morning. So this was on Satanic Royalty Records. I wasn't too familiar with that label, but I was able to get this directly through their big cartel store, but they also were on Bandcamp and surprisingly on Amazon too in my area. So here it is. My copy, unfortunately, has this, where the glue is just not present on the jacket whatsoever. But that's okay because it's going to be living in a poly bag for the rest of its life. And generally, I keep my records out of the sleeve, so I won't have to be continuously putting it in the sleeve and then worrying about that. And then here's the back artwork. Oh, God, it looks so good. And then it does come with the printed inner sheet with even more fantastic artwork. Look at that. So good. And then on the back is the lyrics and liner notes. The artist that did this, of course, this is in super small print. And I am blind as a bat when it comes to that shit. I can't find out who the artist was. His initials are on the back, TH 2022. I'll put it up right here, his name. But yeah, great artwork. This came several different color variants. I got one. I don't remember picking this color, to be honest with you. It's not a big deal whatsoever. I don't care. I would have been happy with just black. But this is like purple with some splatter, red splatter, and when I say some, I mean very minimal. But the other side looks a little bit better. So yeah, but there was also like a green, slime green variant, and then there's like some other like orangey red merge or whatever. But anyway, let's talk about the music for a minute. So this is what you would call the brainchild or the baby of Autopsy, Exhumed, and then a little bit of Carcass there with the Morbid Angel Crunch. That's pretty much the sound that you're getting here. It is filthy and disgusting. the whole entire album. It does not slow down whatsoever. It's pummeling and aggressive. But yeah, it reminds me a lot of like Carcass and Exhumed, as well as Autopsy. Mostly Autopsy, especially with the vocal style. And then Exhumed and Autopsy definitely like smashed together. So this is pretty much death grind to a point. A lot more death metal than anything. But it's got that Morbid Angel like riffage crunch to it. But again, it's just super filthy. Like you need to shower after you listen to this. And it essentially is grotesque. I mean, really, that's what you're getting with this album. That picture right there, and then possibly this picture as well. It's a really good album. I will say it took me a couple of listens to really fully enjoy it to the max. Probably because I wasn't too much in the mood for this at the time of when I got it, because I was listening to Mizmor and Bluetooth Nord, and Horrendous and Atheist, because I had just gotten in all of those records. But after listening to this several times now, it is a very good debut full length. I really like the nasty like death grind sound, especially from Exhumed, that they do, that just filthy sound, and then also incorporating that Autopsy feel to it, in terms of just the bass lines and the vocal style and the vocal delivery. And there's a little bit of that earlier Carcass sound in there, basically just merging all three of these amazing bands that I absolutely love, with newer death metal sound, newer underground death grind death metal sound. So it's a very, very good album. Oh, I just realized his name is actually right here. So was it two artists then? Because there's the initials on the back. Yeah, maybe it's two different artists. I don't know. Okay, anyway, sorry, I just got distracted. I will write the artist names up here somewhere so you guys see it. I try to shout out the artists now when I do collection updates, because artwork is such a pinnacle thing for extreme metal, and the stuff that these artists create is just so damn good. They deserve to be recognized for their work. So yeah, that's Dripping Decay. Let me know if you check this out. It's good stuff. Okay, so the next one is one that I was debating on if I was even going to show it off, because it's I'm not proud of myself here. I'm gonna admit to you guys, I'm not proud of myself for buying this album and liking it, because I didn't want to. I'll just be honest with you on there. I am very much that fan that is a first two albums only when it comes to this band. It was not really hyped up or anything about this new release this year. And when I first listened to it, I hated it. I'll be honest with you. I thought it just was not my thing. Didn't like the vocals. I couldn't stand the way the guitar sounded. It's like, I do not like this album. I'm not going to listen to it again. And then I started to see it being talked about more and more. I started being more like suggestions on my like playlists and whatever else. And I was like, oh, all right, I'll try it one more time. So when I was traveling a couple weeks ago for work, I had some time where I could sit in the hotel and just hang out for a couple of hours before I had to go off and do things. So I sat and listened to a bunch of new releases. Dripping Decay was one of them, and this one. And I listened to it about 4 times while I was working in my hotel room. And I think after like the 5th time on the plane, I kind of was like, yeah, I like this album, so I bought it. And what I'm talking about is the new Cryptopsy, As Gamora Burns. So again, like I've said, I've very much been the first 2 albums only fan for Cryptopsy. Lord Worm, Blasphemy Made Flesh, None So Vile, like 2 of the most iconic death metal, brutal technical death metal albums in the scene. And anything past that I have not been a fan of, or has just not able to get into. I've tried, because I really, Cryptopsy, that's like a legendary band. Like, everybody talks about them still. They're from Canada, by the way, if you were not familiar. But I just never got into Whisper Supremacy or And Then You'll Beg. Once Was Not, The Unspoken King, and Cryptopsy. I've never even heard those albums, so I don't even know what they sound like. Maybe like the singles, and that was it. And some of it got a little bit weird there. Some of it just really was lost on me. But this album, the 2 main critiques that I have is the vocal delivery on this was a little bit modern, I guess you could say. Like modern death metal sound is really hard for me to get into, especially with this like old school death metal revival. Yes, there are some, new bands that I really, really enjoy, obviously. But the vocal style took me a while to really get or enjoy. But most notably, the thing on this is the guitars and how digitized and how digital they sound. So a lot of, I'm assuming plugins maybe, and just that sound took me a while to get used to. But when it finally clicked, it clicked. I mean, it's a good album. If I were to like rank it, probably 3 out of 5, just for the fact that the guitars do kind of like here and there are just a little bit too much for me in terms of that production quality. It's just a super crisp, clean, digital, technical, the guitar sound quality, which tends to kind of just get to me after a while. It's not something I'm always in the mood for. But it's a very brutal, assaulting, technical death metal album, and it's fun. And so I tried to not be so super critical of that and just realize, like, this is a fun album. It's good. There's a lot of musicianship here. Great musicians, that's for sure. And after, like 6 or 7 listens, I finally was like, I like it. I do like it. I'm going to admit it, I like it. And I think I was just making myself not like it just because I was that gatekeeping a-hole that only likes the first 2 albums. But the band has changed. It's been a long time since 1994. Their first album came out. That's a long time, and so they've evolved into this sound that maybe I haven't been the biggest fan of, but this album, I think maybe they've gained a new fan with this album. So be interesting to see what they do continue us on. But I do really like the album now that I've listened to it. But again, those are just my critiques of it. Great album artwork. I don't remember who the album artist, so I'll try to find it. This is out on Nuclear Blast Records, so it can be found anywhere. Printed inner sheet is with the lyrics, and then the band. So Matt is the vocalist now. I have never really heard any of his other albums, so I don't know. And then, like again, the guitarists are great. Just don't say that I think they suck. Not even close. It's just there's like that production quality of just really digital sounding that kind of bothers me sometimes with modern death metal. But they're fantastic guitarists. The drummers on here is insane. The bassist is awesome. So yeah, very fan. They're very, very good musicians. Like very, gifted. I'm trying to think of the word to say here. The artwork is by Paolo Girardi. There you go. So yeah, Nuclear Blast Records. I don't know. I got whatever the one was that I found on Amazon. So I got this on Amazon with a gift card. So I didn't technically pay for this album if you really think about it. It's gold and black Galaxy vinyl, limited to 2,000. There might have been other color copies. I don't know. Immediately, I don't know. But it looks awesome. They did a really good job with this because a lot of times you do these Galaxy vinyls, they just look black until you hold them up to the light. This one you don't need to do that with. So it looks awesome. And sound quality is good. I have not had a dud with Nuclear Blast in a long time in terms of vinyl records. So I've been happy about that. So yeah, I don't think everyone's going to like this album. So I'm not expecting, anybody to agree with me or a lot of people to agree with me on here. But I have been getting a lot of people messaging me because I asked on my Instagram story when I was listening to like what they thought about it, and several people messaged me and said that they really enjoyed the album. I've seen some good reviews on it on YouTube as well. I think Robert at the Metal Meltdown really liked this album, so which is great. So it just took me a longer time to let it have a go on me. Is it an album I listen to all the time? Honestly, this is pretty something I probably would listen to frequently within the next couple months. Just because I have really kind of, gotten into it, I guess. I don't know. I've listened to it a lot since I've gotten this record. I got this record last week. I've been listening to it a lot. I've probably been listening to it almost every day. I think I'm just trying to, like, really understand why I like it, and I can't really explain it other than that. I just do now. But again, those criticisms are still one of those things that I would like to have changed a little bit. Maybe the guitar is sounding a little bit more dirty. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, that's Cryptopsy. Okay, so the next album that I have is one that got sent to me by Paul from Corpse Gristle. He sent me a promo package once again of some of his new releases. I admittedly have not listened to the tape and CD that he sent me yet. I'm kind of backlogged right now. But there's a new release called Horrified that's out. Came out September 1st, so I'm so behind, so apologies on that. Once I listen to that, I'll talk about it, but I am going to be giving away one of the things he sent me pretty soon. So, but the next thing he sent me was actually something I was planning on buying. I had it in my cart, was going to buy when I got paid, but he sent it to me, so thank you. Is this compilation from this New York death metal band from back in the 90s. They're no longer together anymore, so it's one of those gems that have been reissued. But it's pretty much brutal death metal with a little bit of that slam kind of sound to it. That's so slammy brutal death metal, and that is Repudulation. I don't know. Purging of Impurity. This is a compilation. So, New York death metal band. They're split up. They've only released a demo and a split, and this is essentially the compilation of that. So, again, it's that slamming brutal death metal, old school 90s death metal, brutal death metal sound. It's that snappy snare sound. What the fuck? And it's really, really good. I listened to this on Bandcamp when I saw this was going to be released, and I was like, I really like this. I immediately didn't know too much about this band up until then. So it looks like Burning Dogma is the one that also pressed this as well, or they did press this, and Corpse Crystal is distributing it, or I think they're the same thing. I don't really fully know. I can't remember right now, but yeah. So I this is the color version he sent me. I think there might be other ones too, and then the other side is the Burning Dogma. There you go. But yeah, this can be found on Burning Dogma or Corpse Crystal. I believe there might be a tape or CD too. I can't remember. But yeah, just a nice little old school gem to have in your collection. It's fun to listen to. So there's that side. I like that labels do this. They reissue these things that have just been unearthed from the underground. So, oh god, yeah, I need to wake up. So yeah, tracks 1 through 4 are taken from the demo tape Purging of Impurity, which came out in 1996. It was it was talking about where it was recorded, Full Moon Studios, whatever. And then tracks 5 were taken from the split that they had with Disfigured. And then tracks 6 through 8 is from the Frozen Dawn compilation 2 of 1997. So there you go. Aside. So it's a comp. It's really good. That's really all I have to say. Thank you so much for sending it to me. I really enjoy this. I've been listening to this a lot. And I think I posted this on Instagram a couple of weeks ago, and I've seen a few people that I'm friends with share it off and then being like, hey, I got this because you talked about it. So that's cool. I like when that happens. Like, that is the whole point of what I'm doing. So if you're looking for an old school gem to add to your collection, check this out. I'm pretty sure it's still available. Links in the description as always. Okay, and finally, the last album I want to talk about today is one that I've already talked about this year very briefly. I was going to dedicate a whole video to it and then a whole entire discography video, and I just never did it. Shit happens. But this is one of my favorite death metal bands. Hint, they're in the background. I have every single one of their albums on CD, and then I just decided to start getting everything on vinyl because they've been reissued, and they're accessible and easy to find. So I'm halfway there. I got like 3 or 4 more left that I gotta get, and then once I get those, I'll do a video. Some I've had on vinyl for a while now, because they were reissued several years ago. But yeah, what I'm talking about is Vomitory, of course. They came out with a new album at the beginning of the year called All Heads Are Gonna Roll. And admittedly, I listened to it, liked it, put it back on the shelf, and forgot about it. And now, when I was cleaning off my CDs, organizing my CDs when I moved, and getting rid of some duplicates and stuff, I popped this on again. and was like, Jesus Christ, why have I ignored this? This is a really good album. I really like this album. I love this band. They're still pumping out fantastic releases after all these years. And I listen to it a ton, and I've been listening to it a ton now. And this is definitely one of my favorite albums to come out this year now. It's grown on me so much since then. This is why you don't do year-end lists until you fully listen to what's been released that you own, because that happens. Yeah. What's there to say about Vomitory that hasn't already been said? The band has been around since the early 90s. I mean, their first full-length came out in 1996, but they had a couple of EPs and demos out before then. Obviously, this picture back here is from the Raped in Their Own Blood reissue that I have on vinyl that came out several years ago on Metal Blade. And that has always been like the pinnacle of their releases for me. Like, what obviously I consider it a legendary classic album, but I think their discography is pretty solid all the way through. And this album continues with that. Yeah, there's some things about it that are obviously not perfect. But you can tell, that the vocals are still really aggressive. They're still there. They still sound really good. It still sounds like Vomitory. It's a little bit more of that modern death metal sound that they've incorporated in there, but it's still good. It's still Vomitory. Just riffs galore, fast-paced and pummeling. So again, pretty underrated release. I think it probably deserves a little bit more praise, a little bit more attention. It's been tough because there's been so much shit coming out these last couple of months and still to be coming out for the rest of the year. But if you're a Vomitory fan, and if you're looking for a newer release to listen to this year that's technically not these, what the youngsters are listening to, like Tomb Mold. Everybody really likes a dog on Tomb Mold. Check this out. I think you'll really, really like it. So I got this like silver one. I don't know. I'm assuming this is like the most pressed one because it's easy to find and it's everywhere. I don't care. But yeah, I did have this on CD. I still do. I'm probably going to just give it to a friend in a package that I'm planning to send to them. And the jacket's pretty fun. It's artwork. I will say I kind of hate the album title name, but whatever. It is what it is. Yeah, I don't let those things bother me too much. It's good stuff. It's fun, I mean, my favorite song in here is Ode to the Meat Saw. So yeah, there's that. Printed inner sheet with some more of that comic-y type of artwork, and then the guys on the other side. But yeah, who did the artwork for this? I should probably look. Giannis Nakos from Remedy Art Design. I really like the artwork on this. So yeah. And the cool thing about this is, and I've noticed that pretty much most of the Vomitory releases that I've been getting on vinyl have been coming with posters. It also comes with a digital download code. I've already used it, so I'm not going to show it off, but I like that Metal Blade does this. They send like this like little CD size or download code things. I usually like frame them and do weird things with them. But yeah, this also comes with a poster. I really like this poster, but I'm not going to hang it just because my kids and everything. I try to keep it not as scary and gory until they're a little bit older. But yeah, it's the album artwork, and then yeah, there you go. It's a huge ass poster. It's nice quality. Yeah, you just picture my mother walking in and be like, oh my god, what is that? So I try to keep it a little bit more like that. So yeah, I really like this album. I definitely think it's a little bit underrated. I think, I'm surprised more people hadn't been talking about it, but I think it also came out around the time of other, releases that are just taking up the airwaves right now in terms of conversation. And then just lately, the stuff that's been coming out, it's just been like insane amounts. But yeah, it's a great album. I love this band. I really like this album. Like, it's starting to really climb up my favorite albums of the year list. So yeah, that's all that I have today. Let me know if you've checked this out yet. I am not going to do a song clip in this because it's a Metal Blade release, and I'll get flagged for that. So yeah, let me know what you think about this, and if you've listened to this. And then another Vomitory video is coming. I'm definitely going to do album ranking and all that stuff. I'm waiting on like two or three more records that I'm going to get. So that's all that I have today. Nice to do an old standard collection update. I feel like I haven't done them in a while. Let me know what you think on some of these releases. Fully expecting to get some hate about the Cryptopsy because I'm just, you know, it's YouTube. You people really love doing those comments on here. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.